Did you know that stress can impact your blood sugar levels even if you didn't eat anything? Maybe you've looked at the numbers and you thought to yourself, why is my blood sugar levels high? I didn't eat anything, or maybe I didn't eat that much today, right? I'm telling you that it's not the food. More than likely, it may be the stress, okay? Because let's face it, what's going on today, a lot of people are getting stressed out. Stress is a part of everyday life. Unfortunately, there's good stressors and there's also bad stressors, but nonetheless, it is all still stress, right? And so, on this video, I'm going to be talking about stress management tips, right? Because if you're living with diabetes, if you're someone who's watching this and you're living with diabetes, right? Or maybe you know someone who's living with diabetes, maybe it's not you, and you're concerned about their health and wellness, and you can see that they're dealing with some stress in their life, right? This is a video definitely worth watching because stress is something that I think is really something that's been swept under the rug in terms of just how much it can impact not just your blood sugar levels, but your overall health and wellness, right? And so I do want to say that this video is for educational purposes only, all right? Not medical advice. You do want to make sure that you do talk with your healthcare providers, especially if you're someone who's dealing with a lot of stress and you're seeing that it is taking a toll on your blood sugar levels, because that is something that definitely needs to be addressed. All right, so what's happening here, right? What's happening inside the body is that your body releases the stress hormones, the cortisol hormone, right? And it does that when you get stressed out. This is your body's way of signaling your liver, right, to release glucose into the bloodstream, right? And so it's doing that as a way to give you energy to deal with the stress, right? And so the problem here is if you're not actually running from danger, right, or using the energy, right, your blood sugar can actually stay elevated. So if you're not running from danger, because that's the thing about stress, right? The body has no clue that you're worrying about the bills or you're worrying about a loved one, right? If you don't utilize that glucose that was released into the bloodstream, it stays in the bloodstream, which therefore your blood sugar levels stay elevated. All right. And so, some simple things, guys, to actually, deal with the stress, because one of the things is, and it may sound a little bit cliche, but I'm going to mention is self awareness, right? It's so many things that's going on in your day to day lives, right? Everyone's lifestyles is different, everyone's health is different, right? But self awareness is something that I feel many people lack, right? Which is why so many people go around the same mountain of, problems, or the same things keep happening, so to speak, because they don't have the self awareness as into what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and what they can do differently, right? And so when it comes to stress, right, it takes you first being aware that you're stressed out, right? Our body gives us signals. I know personally, when I'm feeling stressed, I can feel it. I feel off, I feel frustrated, like my emotions are going with me. And I'm sure that many of you can relate to that, right? And so pay attention to what your body is actually telling you, because the body speaks volumes and it's up to us to pay attention to that. All right. Another thing is when you're going through this stress, right? Take a moment to do some deep breathing. Okay. Doing some deep breathing, for 1 to 2 minutes will actually help you to feel just a little bit more better, guys, a little bit more better, right? Because think about it, when you're feeling completely stressed out, your emotions is going away with you. And, you know, for some people, when they're dealing with some serious chronic stress, it's almost as if it's hard to breathe, right? Because you're just that stressed out. And so you want to just take a moment and take that time to do some deep breathing, right? Because that can calm your nervous system. All right. Another thing is movement. All right, guys, I had talked about this before on previous videos. I had posted a shorts about it, a YouTube shorts, where I believe it was Healthline News, if I'm not mistaken, that stated that people living with diabetes are dealing with, diabetes complications more so due to the fact that they're not getting enough movement due to inactivity, right? And so I really don't like to use the word exercise because whenever I use the word exercise, people start to run for the hills and they just start to shut down. But it's not so much about having a vigorous exercise or going to the gym or doing something that's long-winded or anything like that. It's just about getting movement in, guys, because movement helps with blood sugar regulation. It helps with circulation. It helps with getting the blood flowing, right? And it is vital, 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 vital. I cannot stress that enough for you living with diabetes to get some kind of movement into your day to day, right? And so instead of telling yourself, I cannot do this, start thinking to yourself, how can I do this, right? Because everyone's lifestyles is different, everyone's situations are different, right? And so it's about thinking about what you can do with your schedule, your life, all right? It's not about comparing yourself to someone else. It's not about looking at your next door neighbor, your friend who has diabetes and or looking at people on TV with diabetes copying what they're doing. Everyone's situations are different, right? And you want to do what's best for you, right? You want to start doing what's best for you and thinking to yourself in terms of that, what can I do with my schedule, with my lifestyle, with what's going on, right? Because once you start seeking for answers, seeking for solutions, guess what? You will eventually find the answer that you're looking for, right? Another thing here is, you want to pay attention to patterns, guys, right? Patterns is the key to what's going on in your life, right? If you're finding that your blood sugar levels are frequently, consistently high, right? You got to start paying attention to the patterns. You have to be a detective, right? Is what I'm trying to say here. You got to be a detective in your own health and wellness. Being a detective gives you the data you need in order for you to make better decisions moving forward. What do I mean by that? Is your blood sugar levels consistently high in the morning, right? Or is it consistently high before bed? Or is it consistently high on stressful days? Is it consistently high, when you're talking to people, right? Maybe you're someone who is getting upset by the type of people that's in your environment and it's causing that internal stress. It's all about pinpointing what time of the day this is happening, what's going on in your life that this is happening, right? Also, paying attention to whether or not you're eating balanced meals, right? If you're someone who's not used to eating balanced meals, guys, start making small commitments, right? Let me tell you something. Years ago, I was pushing 300 pounds. My blood sugar levels were all over the place. Single mom. I literally convinced myself I couldn't, didn't have time to cook. Three kids. I had to pick this one up, take this one to that place, go to this place to pick that one up, take them to that. I was just juggling so many different things with my kids, and it was like, cook? When would I find cook? You know what I mean? But I realized it was taking a toll on my health and wellness. And I didn't like that. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like that I was feeling like that all the time. And granted, my family was so great about giving me compliments, telling me, oh, you're beautiful, especially whenever I was complaining, about how I look. No, you're beautiful. You're this. And even I'll never forget it. Like, even my kids would tell me that some of their friends will look at me and say that, oh, your mom is hot, whatever the case. Even when I was pushing 300 pounds, I didn't feel that though. I didn't feel like I was looking like that. And one thing that my Aunt Gloria always said to me, at the end of the day, you have to be happy with your life choices, your life decisions. And I just wasn't happy, right? And so I made the decision to step into change, to start doing things differently. I've been actually doing something that people call like fiber mixing, but the tool that I use is actually been patented, guys. It's something that has helped me for years. I've gone from taking 4 insulin shots a day to 1 insulin shot a day. Anyway, if you're curious about that and want to see if it will help you in your health journey, I will link that in the description. I will also link some things in the description to help with stress management as well, because it's about having the right tools, guys, that will help you to elevate your health and wellness, right? Having the right tools will help you to get there. And if you seriously want to move forward from where you are now to where you want to be in your health journey, it takes you just taking action. If you found that this video here was very helpful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content around diabetes, mindset, and daily habits. All right. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you on the next video. Take care for now.